Hey guys, hope you're having a good day or night. Today we're going to be going through my morning workout and just into a bit of my morning. Anyone else brush their teeth before they eat breakfast? Anyways, this is the workout. I've been training full body just for convenience over these holidays, and I don't know how impressive or unimpressive my numbers are, but comparison to others will never be useful, so I'm just going to try to get better than last time. Warming up as usual. I don't really warm up on the treadmill. I prefer to warm up on the bike because I feel I can get my whole body involved more. This is especially important if you're training upper body, or no, if you're training full body, because you want to get all your muscles engaged before you exercise to ensure you don't injure yourself. And if you haven't heard this before, make sure you are doing dynamic stretching in your warm up as opposed to static stretching, because static stretching is better for when your muscles are already warm, whereas dynamic will help get your muscles warm before you hit a workout. Also, thank you to Jaden for teaching me how to warm up my wrists a while back because I had some wrist pain, so legend. Alright, first exercise, we got started with some leg extensions. I don't have any bar on the side to hold on to, so sort of look a bit awkward just flailing my arms around or just keeping it the best I can at the sides. And with these exercises, my quad insertions are kind of weird if you ever see them, so leg extensions feel equally weird, especially during tougher sets. And this also applies with leg extension holds. And I'm not sure how to deal with this, but that's how it is for now. Another reminder to stay hydrated, especially during exercise. So we moved on to some leg extension holds. I heard these were pretty good for getting rid of knee pain, so I just decided that I'd incorporate them into my routine when I can. I'm not really sure if it actually does, because I'm sort of just look at something I see on the internet and run with it type of guy, but I guess you can learn from experience, which is always the best teacher. So now we got some knees over toes calf raises. I added a 5 kilogram dumbbell just for some extra resistance because didn't really have any other way to train my calves, hence why they are the size of a 5-cent coin. I actually really struggle with balance sometimes, balance exercises. I think it's because I focus too much on what could go wrong instead of just trying to focus on a point, which really helps me stay balanced. You should try it as well when you're doing an exercise that requires balance. Just try to find a spot on the wall or just anywhere that you can focus on, and your balance will probably be a lot better. Anyways, I moved on to attempting a knees over toes single leg calf raise, and you'll see that I really struggled with it. I didn't end up being able to do it, especially with the weight, so after I failed this, I just moved on to something more simple, just regressed to a simple variation, left my ego at the door, didn't try to do anything stupid, and just adjusted accordingly. Sometimes in my life, I'll find that I can't do something that's a very difficult thing or something that's very skillful, so instead of trying and getting the same outcome, it's probably better to make it easier for yourself and try to progressively overload your way to that point where you want to be. Anyways, finishing off training legs here, managed to get one set of single leg calf raises done on each side and moved on to training my upper body. So we started out with some diamond push-ups. We did 3 sets of 20 push-ups, just changing the grip to wider after each set. I think changing it to different grips is very helpful to target all your muscles, and also just keeps it fun, because if I just did one type of push-up my whole time I was doing push-ups, I'd probably get bored to death. So I actually didn't end up being able to record the second set, but this is me getting G'd up for the last set because I knew it was going to be a tough one. The second set, I was already so close to failure, so I gave myself a bit of rest before going at it again. I also think it's very important to make sure we're still breathing properly, especially when exercising, because we're putting our bodies and our minds at a higher intensity, higher level of stress that it doesn't usually go through, so we should definitely allow ourselves to be in the best position possible to perform. Also, as a side note, I found that slowing my reps down instead of going for as many push-ups as I could possibly do, it's a much better way of training because it's a more clear indicator of where my strength and ability really is at. And here is a little cheeky flex after finishing my 3 sets of push-ups. Very painful, but a massive chest is always rewarding to look at after. Just kidding, I do not have a massive chest, but maybe one day. Speaking of massive chests, the other day I heard C-Bum, everyone's favorite, I heard him say that the way to eat healthy consistently is literally to just do it. And it sounds dumb as hell, sounds very basic, not very helpful, but he went on a bit further to explain that when you really think about what you're putting into your body and what it's going to do to you, it becomes much easier to do something healthy for your body consistently, especially because we only have one body in this life. Also, here's the jersey that I traded with some Victorian state team volleyball player. Very cool last name, Lipman. Many funny jokes can be made from this, which I have made. They may not have been that funny, but that's besides the point. So moving on now to some chest press. I start not at that high of a weight because it's quite a small muscle and it would be a shame to injure it this early on into training. And same concept with the push-ups here. I try to explode into the concentric and make sure I am slowing down during the eccentric part of the movement. And for those of you who don't know, concentric contractions are when the muscle shortens during a contraction, and an eccentric contraction is when the muscle lengthens during a contraction. So there you go, you learned something today. The sweat patches that accumulate in my body, especially when it's on my butt, are quite bizarre but pretty funny when I look back at it or when other people see me in real life. So now we got the tricep extensions on the machine. I'm not really sure if that's the actual name, but I heard these are much better, or they feel much better when you use ropes, but I could not find that extension, so just had to play with the cards I was dealt with. Personally, going to failure with the upper body hits super different than when I hit failure with the lower body, and I can't really explain, but I feel like there's a lot more lactic acid that is generated in my lower body than upper body, which I'm not sure is normal, but a cool observation. Next up, we have the lat pull downs. This is probably one of my favorite exercises, second to bicep curls, because training my lats feels really nice, especially when I have a machine. Just being able to pull down hard and come up slowly feels really nice. And if any of you guys are watching this, feel free to give me any tips on my form or workout, because I'm still a noob at the gym. I have no experience, so it would be much appreciated, my gym bros. And what you just saw was me laughing at myself. Can't really remember what I was laughing about, but it's good to be able to joke around and have fun, but also be able to get back and take things serious. And I find that in volleyball training and even games, it's a very valuable, I'll call it a skill, very valuable skill to have, to be able to have fun but also know when to get serious and get back to work. Now this exercise, where can I even begin? It did not feel right at all, but I still went through and did my 3 sets. Probably because I didn't have a good attachment to it and I was sitting on the floor. I'm not really sure what this part of the machine is meant for. I assumed it was meant for rows, but not really sure how you could do it. But here's my best attempt at trying to. And you could see me fiddling around before, just to figure out if it was also for lateral raises, but I didn't think it was. Alright, so moving on to by far my favorite exercise in the gym so far, bicep curls. I really like how they feel on my biceps.
Oh, my mom.
And here's me trying to be funny when I'm actually not.
If I fail this set right here, mom, you can just end me.
And just saying, I think this is probably the weirdest music background choice I've probably used for a workout video, which is pretty funny.
Alright, last set. This is for you, Owen. If I fail this,
Oh yeah, and just if you're wondering, I keep a towel where I do the curls because I'm extremely sweaty, as you can see with my pants and my body. So I just make it a bit easier for myself to clean the machine after. And I think it's a good principle for when I actually go to the gym, to just be mindful of keeping my area that I use clean for others that use it next. And after my last set of bicep curls, I went into the pool to finish it off with some squat jumps and a little swim. Although cold showers still suck 90% of the time to this day, I'm very grateful that I had no other option on this trip, because most of the showers I have taken, this one inclusive, have been cold by force, whether I like it or not. I'm strengthening my mind and my body in one of the most tough ways, so I can't be mad at that. I think one of the most effective ways to keep a habit is to make sure you're consistent. Even if you miss a day or two, just make sure you try your best to keep that chain of days going, because good habits are made through consistency. So here's a quick snapshot of the breakfast I had: just some porridge and some peanut butter and jam toast. And right here, I was about to get to do some work and wasn't feeling too keen to begin with, and if you watch my video on procrastination, you'll know how to overcome it. However, before I could put anything into practice, something came in my way. I was about to start the work, but my parents dumped some clothes for me to sort through, dry, hang, etc. And I wasn't too keen at first, naturally, but I had three choices. Number 1, be bitter and hateful and not do it. Number 2, be bitter and hateful but do it. Or number 3, accept the responsibility without any bitterness or hate and do it. Anyways, some food for thought I have today is, imagine if your life was being filmed every single waking moment. Not just for a short Instagram or Snapchat story or some TikTok. What if it was filmed all day? How would you act? With more respect to yourself, to others, to the world. So why don't we just make living like that our new and improved default? Alright, so for the last part of this video, let's talk about direction in life. I like to use free time I have to let myself think, and it's not for no reason, because I find, and you'll probably find, that alone time, undistracted and completely present, is probably one of the top few times that you get those light bulb moments. This trip in Cambodia, I have been fortunate enough to come to some certainty about various aspects of my life. Who do I want to be friends and stay friends with? What kind of person do I want to be, and how can I work to achieve that person? What do I want to do after high school? These are some of the questions that I believe many fall short of ever answering, or let alone even thinking of. No, I told myself that I wouldn't even allow myself to work on this video until I finished my notes for the day. Otherwise, I'd just be another fake-ass person sharing my productivity for 10 minutes, then going back to time wasting. Holding myself to standards like this allow me to hold myself accountable, in reference to my procrastination video. Anyways, I had a chat with my cousin's husband a few days ago and forced myself to be open but also critical, because I had the opportunity to ask someone questions and get advice from them. Someone who had went to college in the States and now is just running a construction business in Cambodia. He told me that you can literally do what you plan to do in the gap year while in uni, because I wanted to take a gap year. Working and figuring shit out can happen in uni, and the worst that happens is you get a degree after as a safety net if you don't want to continue. He also told me that while uni and college is a good experience, you don't need it to do well, because real world experience can be infinitely more valuable, especially if you take some risks, work your ass off, and put yourself out there. For now, I've chosen to stick with the quote-unquote safe path because I'd rather that than fall off a cliff which I have no idea is coming. And I can visualize that it will definitely be hard waking up early daily, working out, going to uni, doing the work for it, and working a job or two, as well as having time for myself, family, and friends. But it's possible, it definitely is. But for now, only time will tell how I end up doing. Thanks for watching.